I'm here with our guest speaker who's been phenomenal over our two-day community dialogue, Paul Gorski, who is a professor of social justice and human rights. And I wanted you to be able to tell our audiences how you felt about this experience coming to the Tampa Bay region. You've been going through hoops, going to meet with a variety of different organizations, and what were some of your impressions so far about how everything's going?
Well, it's kind of like a lot of places I go. I think there's a lot of awesome people doing awesome work, and a lot of people who are really committed. And the challenge for all of us is to make sure that the work we're doing in service of social justice and human rights is as efficient and on point as we are. And so my hope when I go any place is that people are willing to engage in that conversation and challenge themselves. And I've just been really happy with how open people have been here to the messages I'm bringing.
You've definitely been telling us not to spin our wheels and kind of focus on giving out blankets and soup and to go deeper. So what are some of the things that you think are positive things you've seen work in other communities where they have been able to go deeper?
Well, I think in terms of working on issues of poverty and economic justice, I think the central concern is living wage work. That we have to say, okay, what can we track all these other issues back to? And I think with poverty and economic justice stuff, it always tracks back to what kind of economic resources people have access to. So I think working on that, working on things like healthcare, access to equitable educational opportunity, and those things, so that we're working at kind of the root issues rather than dancing around the root issues. When we dance around the root issues, we might feel good about what we're doing, but we basically guarantee that no big change is going to happen.
What about how do you get your students involved to get into a more of an activist role in your classes?
Well, the first step is to help them understand the issues as complexly as possible, because a lot of what they want to do is more service and volunteerism, and they've been sort of socialized to think that's the path toward more equity. But to understand the issues more complexly at a more structural level, so that they realize that that service and volunteerism, while good, is not going to quite get us where we want to go. But then it's about giving them access to local community organizations that are already doing really good work around this stuff, and connecting them with people who are really committed to doing the more structural work, and that helps so that they can see different pathways, that there's not just one pathway, there's a variety of pathways.
So for those of us who teach in service learning courses, and our office is really focused on getting faculty involved in service learning, what do you think are some of the approaches that we need to be sure we're hitting equity literacy while at the same time pursuing service and service learning courses?
There's a range of approaches to service learning, and some of them are pretty damaging, where you take basically more privileged people and you take them into the marginalized community to fix something about the marginalized community. I think really it first starts with the equity literacy piece, which is the consciousness. Do I understand this issue as complexly as possible? Do I understand that I am not the savior of other people, that I should have a real relationship with communities, and if I'm going to do service in a community, it should be the community to decide what that service is, not me imposing what I think needs to be fixed. But I also think I need to take a very structural view. The problem with a lot of service learning is that I'm building my own cultural capital by going into this marginalized community, doing something for a while, and then leaving the community. And so I think I need to realize how that needs to be connected to a commitment also to work on the bigger issues that are creating the problems in the marginalized community that I think I'm fixing with my service learning. So it can't just be about taking privileged kids, building their education, their cultural competence on the back of marginalized people. It's got to be, how do I connect this to some kind of bigger change?
And do we need the faculty members to stay involved with the organizations from semester to semester, and they provide a lot of the continuity?
I think that's huge. I think it's about an ongoing relationship. And I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of people coming out of academia that are doing a lot of damage in marginalized communities. I know it from my own background, with part of my family being from Appalachia, and the amount of damage that faculty are taking their faculty egos into those communities and telling those communities what they need to do. So, I think it's really important to not just to have that ongoing piece, but for faculty to develop that relationship before we take students into those communities.
Well, I think this is so helpful. We're really looking forward to your final lecture here on campus, and I think your message is really important as we're pursuing more surface learning classes on campus to really keep this focus in mind. So thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.